convened today. There was a rebuttal witness that the Manhattan District Attorney wanted to call rebut the testimony from former Michael Cohen legal advisor Bob Costello that was offered earlier in the week, and for some reason the witness was unavailable yesterday and is supposedly going to be available today.
All right, that's something.
We'll see. I mean, Bragg is way out on a limb, so I don't know how he walks it back, and I'm not suggesting he's trying to, but the story is like in the Post yesterday upon this development where you have unnamed assistant district attorneys saying to a unnamed source, they don't understand how this case is going forward. These ADAs are not fans of Trump, but they are professional lawyers and know the law. Yeah, it's difficult. I haven't really heard anybody come up with a compelling, cogent explanation of how this case comports with the law, like a legal theory that says, oh, well, that's plausible, where you say, well, that's plausible, what Bragg is doing here. But before we get to Bragg, I did want to raise the answer that White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre gave yesterday at the press briefing to a question that Peter Doocy, because who else would ask it, question Peter Doocy asked about the development with House Oversight Committee work on the Biden Inc. investigation and the $3 million wire from a Chinese energy concern or somebody affiliated with it to Biden Inc. that was divvied up between Bo's widow, then Hunter's girlfriend, Haley, and brother Jim. And this is how that went.
Thank you, Karine. House Oversight says they've got bank records showing a Chinese energy company paying 3 Biden family members through a third party. What were they paid for?
Look, I'm just not going to respond to that from here. Look,
this is good.
We have heard from House Republicans for years and years and years how the inaccuracies and lies when it comes to this issue. And I don't even know where to begin to even answer that question because, again, it's been lies and lies and inaccuracy for the past couple years, and I'm just not going to get in.
Right. I'm not going to respond other than to just categorically deny it and call them lies, except for the point that Hunter Biden has already conceded that the wire that was reported by Jim Comer is real, and the money was divided, and that was just ordinary course of business type of stuff. It was customary. There's no big deal here. It was just me doing my business and enlisting people who were helping me with my business who happened to be family members. That's all.
Yeah, but Haley Biden getting $35,000 for doing what?
It's
for the whole thing is
all
a
of them.
Hot mess, right?
But that story has changed. It was denial. It's Joe Biden, Mr. 10%, the big guy, saying, no, that didn't happen. It's Hunter Biden saying it did happen and it's not a big deal. And Karine Jean-Pierre just calling it a lie, because she's got a flack for the big guy, Mr. 10%. All right. For more on all of this palace intrigue, pleased to be joined by Ed Morrissey, senior editor for Hot Air, hotair.com. Ed, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
I don't know which statement will hold up for a shorter period of time. The statement that Karine Jean-Pierre said that everything's a lie and she's not going to go there, or the statement that they don't see a recession coming, the economy's strong. I don't know which has a shorter shelf life.
No, but I think they both have something in common. They're sort of echoes of Baghdad Bob, aren't they?
Yeah.
The tanks are not anywhere near Baghdad. This is not an administration that is long on honesty. In fact, we haven't had an administration that's been long on honesty in quite a long time. But there is supposed to be at least some sort of basis of reality when you're dealing with White House press, the White House press corps, the White House press secretary isn't supposed to just flat out lie. They're supposed to gently move to other topics and that sort of thing. It has become, I guess, the tradition now, the recent tradition, that press secretaries just get up there and lie. And it's embarrassing. And it's frustrating to the people who are in the room. Not that I have a lot of sympathy to the other people in the room, but you can understand why they'd be frustrated when they're raising actual facts, and the person at the podium is trying to tell him that the sky is orange, not blue. I mean, it's absurd.
I think Karine Jean-Pierre, I think she thought that all the lying that was being done by the Moderna CEO in front of that Senate committee would overshadow her lying from the podium.
Well, and there is something to that, because there's an awful lot of untruth going on, right? And there's untruth going on in the media, too. And so, I can't tell you how amazed I was that Donald Trump actually got arrested, tried, convicted, sentenced to jail, and has already been paroled this week. Because my understanding was all that was supposed to take place before today.
Right, of course. But Alvin Bragg may have a second problem that has not been discussed as much, in addition to being, an ideologue who's interested in playing politics with his office, not enforcing the law and aiding and abetting public safety. He also may not be very competent. We have that situation with Kim Foxx in Cook County, so we're familiar with it here.
Yes.
So that could be part of it as well. But what is your sort of spidey sense about the development yesterday? I mean, it's just, especially for something high profile, to not have this buttoned down. You've got a rebuttal witness. Now, it could have been the rebuttal witness had a personal emergency, something that was unforeseen and unforeseeable, but it sounds like there's some cracks in Alvin Bragg's office with what he's doing.
Well, first off, there should be, because this is a terrible case to bring. I mean, this is the same type of case that flopped at the federal level with John Edwards. It doesn't work. You can't make the sale. And the federal case against John Edwards was at least the correct jurisdiction. And the state doesn't really have a lot to do with presidential elections. And yes, there's some overlap here, but generally speaking, if you're talking about campaign contributions and misuse of campaign contributions in a presidential election, it's a federal issue. It's not a state issue.
Right.
So first off, you got a jurisdiction issue. Second off, you've got a statute of limitations issue, which you're trying to monkey around, right? Because they're trying to wiggle around this thing because they're going to charge it as a felony. They're going to claim that it was a cover-up for a second crime, which also, the second crime, is also very, very questionable. This thing is as a house of cards. And I'm actually wondering, and I've been wondering this for some time, if Alvin Bragg didn't bring this to the grand jury for the purpose of them tossing it out, because he got in a lot of trouble for not pursuing Donald Trump in the earlier case. Got a lot of trouble with his supporters, got a lot of trouble with his political backers. And I'm wondering if he just wanted some political cover to say, hey, this is a loser of a case and I can't pursue it. So it wasn't all on him that the case couldn't go forward.
The problem with that, I mean, possibly, but the problem with that is, as the old saying goes, a prosecutor can get a ham sandwich indicted. So you can get a ham sandwich indicted, but you can't get Trump indicted. It seems to me you'd get the indictment, and if you lose that trial, say, well, we lost that trial. He had one MAGA juror who was a holdout, and so on and so forth. But at least I made the effort. That seemed to me like a better fallback position for Bragg. And
it's certainly a possible one. But I think he understands how much of a loser this case actually is, and it's almost like a Django thing. All you have to do is tug on one little thing, it comes down. And I think even if they get an indictment, this thing's going to get in front of a judge who's going to look at all of this and then look at their main character or their main witness to this, Michael Cohen, who's a convicted perjurer, say,
right.
What are you guys thinking? There's no way you can take this to trial. I don't care if the grand jury indicted it. There's no way you can take this to trial. It's a loser, and it's very clearly being done for political reasons. And that is, I think, a very, very bad position to put Bragg in, to put the city of New York in, and to put Democrats in, because Democrats have been kind of cheering this on. And when it becomes clear that this is a real mess, I think it's going to make them all look bad. And that was what Van Jones was talking about on CNN earlier this week, saying, look, if I was Bragg, maybe I'd back off from this, because if there's a case that's going to go forward against Trump, it should really be the one in Fulton County, Georgia, not the one in New York.
But don't you think all of this is helping Trump's image and free publicity?
Yes.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yes, he's selling himself as a victim. I mean, this is not a new thing for Donald Trump anyway. but he's selling himself as a victim, and Alvin Bragg is helping him out. I mean, he's creating this victim. Well, it's not even really a myth at the moment. He really is being persecuted.
Yeah, right.
And so he's forcing Republicans to defend Trump at least to that extent. And I'll defend Trump at least to this extent. It's a bad case. There's no way that you can prove that this was done to defraud voters. If anything, it was probably done to keep his wife from finding out about an alleged affair with Stormy Daniels, which he still denies to this day. And that's not a crime. Morally, ethically, we can have those debates, but it's not a crime. And it's silly to pursue it as a crime.
Well, the other thing, too, I mean, again, Trump's uncanny ability to have the left expose themselves for who they really are. Now, this case will cast a pall over the other cases, the other investigations in Fulton County,
right,
and even at DOJ. Because now it's like, so you couldn't get him there because this is what you opened with, and now you're trying to get him here and here. Well, everything is illegitimate. All you folks are of the same cut, and
right.
I don't believe any of it, and I don't believe any of you. And this is just more evidence of a witch hunt and two systems of justice based on what you believe.
And that was Van Jones's point on CNN. I think it was Monday night. He said,
"Oh my God, I'm agreeing with Van Jones." Oh
Yes.
my God,
Yeah,
maybe I need to rethink
Van
my
Jones
position.
Well, Dan, Van Jones is actually a pretty smart guy. I don't agree with him. I don't agree with his politics, but he's a pretty smart guy, and he sees that. And for arguing that, he has been pilloried all week long by progressives for pointing out the fact that this is really going with a loser case like this to lead off is going to make everything else look bad. And he's exactly correct about that.
And what did you make of Karl Rove's piece in the Wall Street Journal out yesterday, where and again, Rove's not a Trump fan, and the feeling's mutual, but he essentially said Trump would be, this is going to be a temporary bump for Trump, and Trump would be better served to, play it low key and just wait to have his day in court. I mean, what is Karl Rove smoking? Politically, what Trump is doing is absolutely the right play.
Yeah, I mean, I like Karl, and he's a pretty smart guy too. But I think he's wrong on this point. In this, it's a political maneuver, and you've got to fight it politically, and that's what he's doing. Now, I think I think that the part where he's trying to blame Ron DeSantis for his troubles is pretty laughable, and I think that's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
But I think if he's on the attack against Alvin Bragg and the politicization of law enforcement in New York City, he's spot on about that. You've got to be talking about that. You've got to raise the profile of that, and I think Republicans feel comfortable raising that point too. I don't think a whole lot of them feel comfortable saying that everybody has to defend Donald Trump against all the allegations, or else they're not true Republicans, or not true patriots. I mean, it's silly. Donald Trump is the author of many of Donald Trump's woes at the moment, but this particular prosecution is clearly political, and you have to fight it on that basis.
He is Ed Morrissey, senior editor at Hot Air, hotair.com. Ed, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When it comes to remodeling your home, are you picky, fussy, persnickety, particular, demanding, and just downright hard to please? Do you value quality over speed? Getting it done right over just getting it done? Well then, Mr. and Mrs. Persnickety, do yourself a favor and check out Forever Remodeling. That's the number 4everremodeling.com. To call us perfectionists would be understating our attention to detail. If you said we were OCD when it comes to creating spectacular kitchens, bathrooms, basements, and additions, we'd be guilty as charged. Forever Remodeling takes the time to meticulously get the job done exactly right. So if you're a stickler for details, if your standards are ridiculously high, then check out Forever Remodeling. We can promise you a best of the best of the best experience. That's the number 4everremodeling.com. 4everremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
March is National Nutrition Month, conveniently right after the holidays and Valentine's Day. We're past the sweet season and into the spring season. Perfect time to kick the bad habits to the curb and kickstart healthy new ones. And there's no better way to do that than with my friends at 120 Life, a natural juice drink made of pomegranates, tart cherries, and cranberries that helps lower blood pressure without the side effects of pills. I'm drinking it, and I love it, and you will too. But even if you don't have high blood pressure, it's important to get your blood pressure checked. It affects almost half of all adults and can lead to serious health consequences if left untreated. That's why it's important to nip it in the bud. So go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. And order their 2-week trial pack. If you don't see lower BP numbers, you'll get your money back. That's guaranteed. And when you use the coupon code DAN, you'll save save 15%. Almost cut you there. Save 15%. Use the promo code DAN. It's that simple. 120 Life is more than just a juice drink. It's a natural solution to high blood pressure and a great way to kickstart your healthy habits. 120 Life. We need more stuff like this.
Spills happen every day in your workplace, anywhere gasoline, diesel, machine crude, or cooking oils are used. These spills not only disrupt workflow production, but are hazardous to employees and the public. You need a team that can come in and clean up that spill and get your crew back to work and remove the ugly, unsightly stains. You need Cabino Environmental Field Services, an environmental response team to the rescue. Using sustainable, all-natural green products, they mitigate the spills and extract the stain from the pavement. The only byproduct is the used oil absorbent that gets recycled as a fuel source. This is one of the most economical, sustainable, and green ways to manage an oil spill. For stains on your residential garage floor, rooftop, patio around the barbecue, parking lot, or pavement around your fuel pumps, Cabino Environmental is available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Call 815-373-5176 or click on